Hi, Miss Deb here, and today we are going to demonstrate one-point perspective landscape. Last time you did the shapes, and today I'm going to show you how it would work in a landscape. You will need a pencil, ruler, and an eraser, and a paper. Since we are going to do landscape today, we need to do a horizon line. It could be higher or lower depending on where you want to start. Horizon line is where the sky and the ground meets, and the vanishing point has to be on the horizon line. It could be anywhere on the horizon line, does not have to be in the middle of the horizon line. Just make sure that it is on, and all the guidelines has to start from the vanishing point to the bottom of the page. Today I'm going to show you only the bottom of horizon line, but if you choose to do so, you can extend from the vanishing point to higher up to make things closer to you even bigger. These are all guidelines. I just want to tell you that every time you do guidelines, you have to erase them later. So please make them lighter, so it will be easier for you to erase. After I did the guidelines from the vanishing point to the bottom of the page, I am drawing some vertical lines to make sure that how vertical my trees and my buildings are going to be. I have chosen to do trees on the left hand side and buildings on the right hand side. And the triangle space it has created in the middle, that is going to be my road. So it's a tree-lined road on one side and buildings on the other side. So the vertical guidelines I have created are my guidelines for the trees. I am assuming that all my trees are the same height. Therefore, they will be all ending at the same height. That's why the top guideline is there. And they will become smaller and smaller and smaller and vanish into the vanishing point as they go further away from me. Since the middle of the area is my road, I am creating a dividing line. You know, in the roads they have those white lines in the middle. So I am creating those currently. Also for the same thing, the lines, dotted lines closer to you would be larger and wider, and the one going further away from you will become smaller and smaller. Ultimately it will vanish into the vanishing point. So since this is the absolutely in the middle of the road, that's why I am drawing it in the straight up and down in a vertical line. And after this I will start drawing the houses on the right hand side. Now I have quite a few guidelines because I have to show the roof, I have to show the corner of the house and the sides of the house. But I have chosen to show you what if some of the houses were taller than the houses. I mean, they are not the same height. So you have to use different guidelines for different heights. That goes for anything that if you want to make them different heights, you cannot use the same guideline. So I'm drawing the house that is closest to me, and I am going to make a gabled roof for that. And so gabled roof line is lining up with the top of the house, guideline. And now after I have drawn the roof, I am drawing the details. Make sure the one that is closest to you should have the most details, because you can see everything whatever is closest to you. As further it goes away, the details become less and less. The other terminology that you can use that is closest to you is it's at the bottom of the page is called the foreground. That means it's front of the house. In the middle of the page is the middle ground. The things would be medium sized, and at the back of the page is the background. Things would be smaller, less detailed, and further away, higher on the page. Since I decided to make buildings on the right side of the street, I am making a sidewalk, because usually streets have sidewalks. The next building I'm making, I've decided that it should be taller than the one in the front. So even though it is becoming smaller at the back, it's still taller, and I'm using a different guideline for that, and it's ending up at the vanishing point. So you can see I'm creating new guidelines so that the top lines narrow down and going towards the vanishing point. And I'm making sure that I am using the correct guidelines and not the wrong ones. So when you're creating your own landscape, please make sure that you're using the correct guidelines. That can be tricky. Now for the windows and the doors, if they're on the side of the building, like going towards the vanishing point, you'll see the sides of the windows and doors are vertical, but the top and the bottom lines are kind of slanted, creating a trapezoid. But if the building that you look at the building that is right in front of you, the one that is facing you is the side of the house, so that one, it will not be slanted because the lines will be going away from you. Now I'm trying to make another one that is taller, another building that is taller. So you'll be able to see the top of all the buildings because this is below the horizon line. Now there's another method where we can make the buildings really bigger, that is front of you, by creating some guidelines that is going higher up from the vanishing point. And I'll share some pictures of that with you too. Now that I'm done with the building, I'm going to make some tiny trees that is going towards the vanishing point. Now you'll see that I have not created anything behind the buildings or behind the trees. So if you choose to do so, you can fill up those areas. If you want to keep it empty, you can do that too. Now, since the middle part of my picture is a road, I am creating cars going one way in one side and another way another side. The one on the left hand side that is closest to you is biggest because it's closer to you, and I've drawn the back of the car because it's going away from you. And on the right hand side, I'm drawing a car in the middle ground, which is a little bit smaller than the one in the left hand side because that is coming towards you. So I've drawn the person and the steering wheel. The third car is further away in the background, so it's smaller because it's it's further away from the viewer, which is you. Now please do not forget to add something in the horizon. You can add anything you want. If you want to do mountains, if you don't want to do mountains, so think of something that you can put in the horizon. And the trees are really far away, so that's why they are so small. And I'm creating another big tree, and it's going off the page because it's so close to me. So after this, I'm going to outline it with Sharpie so you can see the details better. The things that are closest to you is bigger and is becoming smaller to the vanishing point. And make sure you use the correct guidelines, and something in the middle is come straight down. So I'm sharing some different samples of 1-point perspective artworks with you, so you can see how you can make wavy lines if you want to do a river or inside of a room or a railroad line or buildings and trees. They are all here. Happy creating!